So the remembrance of the Lord has remembrance of all his appearances and disappearances, whereas we have some remembrance of this life, but most of us, most cases, we don't remember our last life. And of course, there is the understanding of transmigration of the soul. Of course, not everyone believes in that, but it is a scientific fact that the body is changing every so many years. And at the time of death, the body stops working, and the consciousness or the living entity within the body goes on. And that transmigration of the entity between different bodies happens even within this life. So death is just means that this body no longer functions, so the living entity has to go to another body. And then there's that aspect of transmigration that the Lord does not transmigrate from one body to the other. He comes in his original form and he makes his appearance and he appears. The word that Prabhupada used, he says, very Krishna's peculiar appearance is as a young baby, then as a young boy, and then as a young man. So these appearances of the Lord are there. It's an apparent change, but the Lord is always manifesting his original form. And then there's deterioration of the living entity. So the Lord's form never deteriorates. And the example Prabhupada gives is the way that Krishna appeared on the battlefield at Kurukshetra. He had many grandsons and great-grandsons. So according to material calculations, he was fairly older, although his appearance was somewhat like a 20 to 25-year-old young man. So Krishna's body never deteriorates. And of course, memory. Our memory is very limited. Can't even remember, things that I just read. So I have to take notes. But Krishna's memory is such that he remembers everything. Well, not just of himself, but of everybody. Even in his expansions, he remembers. There's the expansion of the super soul in the heart of every living entity. And not just that he remembers, but he gives that remembrance as well. Remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. That's what Krishna can give. So then there is the aspect of eternality and bliss and knowledge. So the living entity also has those qualities of eternality, bliss, and knowledge. Krishna's eternality, bliss, and knowledge is always there. And he does not appear according to his external energy. There's no cause. He is causeless. And he appears by his sweet will, by his internal potency. And the reason he is appearing is because Prabhupada describes out of his mercy, out of his causeless mercy. And it's amazing because the body of the Lord and the quality of the Lord are non-different. So this quality of causeless mercy is non-different than his form. So many times I hear in the songs sung by Lord Shiva, there's this famous Radha Kripa Kataksha where he's singing these beautiful qualities of Srimati Radharani, and he's doing it in a prayerful mood to receive the mercy of Radharani. He's describing many forms that she may have in reference to her qualities. So they say the embodiment of like that. And then there's also the aspect that Krishna has different potencies, multifarious potencies. And that internal potency, that is the devotion, the bhakti, the causeless mercy, that is his form, that is his appearance. And as we know, Krishna takes many appearances, and it's not limited to just India or a location or like that. So he appears. And the reason for his appearance, that's another topic. But right now, just talking about the nature of his appearance. So he appears out of causeless mercy. And what is that causeless mercy? It's so that the living entities can meditate on the Lord in his original form. And Prabhupada, he's sharing that, according to the scriptures and according to the previous realized great souls, that Krishna's original form, he has 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, a beautiful face, and he's playing the flute. So this is his original form, and the intention, the goal is to meditate on these forms without mental concoction or imagination, which is what some persons who Prabhupada references to as impersonalists. They don't see that the Lord has a form because they think that the form, any type of form of the Lord, is just some mental concoction or imagination. So all of these qualities that are being described and understanding the nature of the Lord is very important, so that at least theoretically, philosophically, we can understand how that form is not material. And it is not on any qualitative level of any material manifestation in this world. So that was another interesting point that Prabhupada in his purport in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Prakriti. Generally, we hear Prakriti in reference to the nature or material nature. And in that 4th chapter, text 6, Prabhupada is referencing Prakriti to the nature or the form of the Lord. So his nature, his swarup, his original form, and so the living entity also has their own original nature. And so we have, of course, marginal potencies. And so we can be serving in the internal potency, or we can serve the internal potency, or we can choose to serve Krishna's other potencies, which are his external potencies, which is an indirect service. And the recommendation, of course, is that the original nature of the soul is to serve Krishna in a loving relationship, and the satisfaction of the soul come when we engage in devotional service in that internal potency to serve the Lord. So I was just thinking how the tendency we have to hear music or dance or be entertained, like to watch some drama, that it's amazing because the soul can't escape the desire to try to somehow hear and glorify about activities and personalities. And so the perfection of that is when we do those in relation to Krishna. And so I really love dance. I grew up doing dance from a really young age. I haven't done much dance recently. But once I came to the temple as a teenager, I started seeing Bharatanatyam. And I really appreciate Bharatanatyam. But one of the favorites, and it's not just me, but a lot of Bharatanatyam teachers, they'll say one of the most famous and inspiring dances is the dance that shows the incarnations of the Lord. So they'll show, um, they'll show Kurma, Matsya, Varahadev. Here we're hearing about the sons of Aditi and Diti and the different progeny. And, Lord Nrsimhadev, we're going to hear about Prahlad and like that. So it's really amazing to see actually in a dance form. And then there's also music, of course, there's kirtan, there's bhajans, there's so many amazing activities within Krishna consciousness. And then there's dramas, everyone loves cinema or cartoons or even novels. So the best are, of course, in relation to Krishna, and Krishna will appear himself. He'll appear in different forms, expansions of himself, or sometimes he will send bona fide, empowered representatives. In Prabhupada, in the purport, he gives reference to his own son. And of course, many other great souls like our beloved Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's dear disciples. So being able to hear about these great souls as well is also very enlivening because it's all in relation to the Lord. So it's attractive, it's enlivening, and it's a very positive way of engaging our self naturally. Whereas the opposite side, we can do those same things when it's in relation to other people or this world in a way that's not directly related to the Lord. Of course, there are lessons we can learn, and like this. So that's why, according to our consciousness, I was trying to understand this earlier. According to our consciousness, the Krishna consciousness will be manifest or not manifest, according to different situations. So the association that we have with these various activities and whether they're related directly or not to the Lord will affect our consciousness, because we are part of the marginal potency. So I was trying to further understand this manifest and non-manifest of the Lord's appearance, and then the manifest and non-manifest of our own Krishna consciousness. So the example given of the Lord's manifestation, non-manifestation, Prabhupada compares it to the sun, how the sun appears to us to rise and in evening appears to set, although the sun is always fixed in its position, but according to our position we perceive it as manifest and unmanifest. So the Lord, he's always present. He just appears and disappears according to time, place, circumstance. And then my husband, Shastrakrit Prabhu, he shared with me a beautiful verse on Light of Bhagavatam, verse 13, in reference to the manifest and unmanifest nature of our consciousness and why that happens. So this is like the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada gives really nice examples in relation to nature. So here it says, in the rainy season, some of the roads are not frequently used and become covered with long grasses. And thus, it becomes very difficult to see the road. Similarly, in this age, the transcendental scriptures are not properly studied by the brahmanas. Being covered by the effects of time, the scriptures are practically lost, and it becomes very difficult to understand or follow them. And so we have Krishna appearing for different reasons, and of course, he appears to protect the devotees. to annihilate the miscreants or demoniac, and to help us be obedient to the rules and regulations of the scriptures, which are coming directly from the Lord Himself. And of course, in this day and age, the appearance of the Lord is always there in the form of His holy name. And by the grace of our spiritual masters and Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara, we are given a lifestyle and service to be able to bring that access to the appearance of the holy name within our heart and our consciousness. And by always trying to remember to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the easiest, most sublime, most practical form of approach to achieve spiritual perfection, to go back home, back to Godhead, and always stay in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so we're 7:34 right now. I just thought I would kind of pause for a second and see if anybody wants to add anything, any realizations, or any comments or questions. Or any reflections he wants to add.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just remembering Prabhupada's statement that all of there was some like lead up to it, but pretty much he was saying all of our activities are recreation. Like it's all fun.
Hi. Anybody else? Anyone want to share about Prabhupada or something that inspires them in their chanting or their services? Okay, so I guess I can continue to share some of my meditation on chanting and Krishna's merciful form. So I think there's 9 different processes of, not I think, but there is 9 processes of devotional service. And, hearing and chanting is most powerful. Residing in a holy place like that. And then there are different examples of devotees that personify some of these perfections. It's nectar devotion that talks about how one, when one does a service. So, for example, there's the aspect of surrendering one's whole body. And of course, we have the example given of the pastime where the devotee was serving by walking to the temple and giving obeisances. Can someone remind me his name? This particular devotee was a king.
Ambarish.
Yes, Ambarish Maharaj. Then there's Prahlad, and he is his particular service that's glorified that he's known for is his praying. It's very prayerful. That's Akrura. I'm sorry, Akrura. Yes, Akrura. So my memory is not that great with names and pastimes, but the essence is there. But I was thinking of this, how in service, even if we can't do a lot of services, devotional service is not particular to a certain health or a certain place, or a certain circumstance, that anyone can do devotional service according to their means. And this is also the mercy of the Lord. And I was also thinking how in the association of devotees, we can imbibe that quality of mercy as well, in the aspect of, in our service. Of course, there's rules of Vaishnava etiquette to follow, where we serve the seniors and we be merciful to the juniors and we be friends to the equal. But underlying the whole association is to see that it's only out of causeless mercy, and to steer clear of the tendency to somehow feel entitled or like that somehow we're making it happen. But it's actually we're just assisting our spiritual masters in their service. And this way we learn from the spiritual masters the proper mood and how to serve. And ultimately, letting go of that idea that we are the center of everything. And yes, because to really appreciate Krishna, it does take a bit of effort for a conditioned soul to let go of different, tendencies to want to be the Lord. And so hearing about the Lord and his different ways that he is merciful is very helpful, because even though one is not qualified, especially in this age of Kali, we have the most merciful appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And their mercy is so great that Lord Nityananda Prabhu says that even if someone chants once this holy names, Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, they go back to Godhead, and it's this quite amazing. And to really, really meditate on this quality of mercy of the Lord and how that is his very embodiment is very deep. And like we heard the other day from Shastrakrit Prabhu about how how he was telling the pastime of Kundarik Vidyanidhi, when he heard about the nature of the Lord's mercy in relation to Putana. It just it sent him into ecstasies and crying to think of how great that mercy is. And even for most persons in the U.S., I mean, religion is not as popular as it used to be, but they're still practicing faithful people like Christianity, Muslims, and like that, and various different religions. And even they really hold on to, that's one of their main things they hold on to, is the mercy of the Lord. Because without that mercy, there's really no hope in Kali Yuga. And so, like that, the Lord will appear to people at different times and places according to their level of understanding. This is all the Lord's mercy. So, would anybody else like to comment or say anything? Any additions, subtractions?
Hare go.
Hare Krishna.
I'm still thinking of this this example you gave of the dancing and like their devotional dancing. But I'm thinking like nowadays it seems like it's so hard for us to be satisfied. Like for people to just be satisfied watching that, it seems like we need like more stimulation, and we couldn't just be satisfied watching a play of people dancing, and like acting out for those pastimes. Well, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well,
yeah,
I
it
mean,
seems like a problem.
everyone has different natures, that's for sure. Like I know my Prabhu didn't go to the dance because it's just not his thing. But everyone has some inclination to some kind of recreation. So according to that tendency, then one can see examples that are there of how to utilize that. And if it's still confusing, then you can ask someone that knows you more personally. Like that, there's that aspect of devotional service that we can inquire confidentially if there's some issue, because usually the tendency is out of habit. So habits they form over time, and sometimes in our practice we may still have previous habits carrying over, and so we have to learn to transform those habits to more positive ones that will give us better outcome in our Krishna consciousness. So like I love animation. I'm an artist by nature, so I love I used to watch TV and animation and movies like hours and hours a day, because I was fascinated with the visuals and the art and the because it's so entertaining. It's a whole science. Um, it's a whole science that the industry developed how to captivate the attention according to colors and sound and shapes and movement, and that's coming from a higher realm as well, that this science, but it's being used in a very distracting, mundane way for most people. And the truth is that if you don't have a taste, if you don't have taste for service, for Krishna consciousness, naturally, by default, one just kind of settles for whatever's there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't have memory, that haven't come in touch with Krishna consciousness, and so in this life, and so they're kind of just settling for what they're given, which is like practically nothing. They're so bored that all they can do is try to distract themselves or somehow inundate themselves so they don't have to think, whether it's whatever, intoxication or, this illicit, that thing, like that, somehow fill the void. And as devotees, there may be some previous habit to those tendencies, but we should use our intelligence, regularly read, to remind our intelligence that actually, no, these are there may be a habitual, residual nature towards that direction, but we have to use our intelligence to remind ourselves that, hey, this is not going to satisfy us. It's a waste of time. And slowly, gradually, like that. And I was hearing a class the other day by Devamrita Maharaj, and one small bit that I took from him was he was saying the positive side is we can try to develop habits like one he gave was to try to practice glorifying devotees and their services regularly. Some find something to glorify the devotees about and just make that a habit. And so like this different areas in our services we can develop different habits. So I hope that helps. Anybody else want to comment or share some realizations?
I sent this verse to you. It's a very nice, another verse from the Light of Bhagavat that talks
Oh,
about. Maybe if you like, you can read it if you have time.
oh, sure. Okay. So this is the Light of Bhagavat. It's number 15. It says, in the midst of the thunder in the cloudy sky, there appears a rainbow that has no string. Yet its appearance is compared to the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his servants in the midst of the material atmosphere. Wow. Would you like me to read the report given?
Yeah, if nobody else have questions, you can read.
Okay, sure. So the Sanskrit word guna means quality or mode, as well as string or rope. When a rainbow appears during the rainy season, it is observed to be like a bow with no guna or string. Similarly, the appearance of the personality of Godhead or his transcendental servants has nothing to do with the qualitative modes of material nature. The phenomenal appearance of the transcendence is free from the qualities of material nature, and thus it resembles a bow with no string. The Transcendental Supreme Lord is eternally the form of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. The material energy works under his goodwill, and therefore he is never affected by the modes of material nature. When he appears before us in the midst of material interactions, he remains always unaffected like a stringless rainbow. By his inconceivable energy, the Supreme Lord can appear and disappear like a rainbow, which appears and disappears without being affected by the roaring thunder on the cloudy sky. The Lord is eternally the biggest of the big and the smallest of the small. The living beings who are his parts and parcels are the smallest of the small, and he is the biggest of the big as the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. And so to just recap that here, what we're reading is going to be going into Diti and her son that will appear as Vamanadev. But before that, they'll talk a little bit about the family of Bali Maharaj, like that. And there's a whole history given here. So many exciting ones to come to meditate on. Okay. We have about 10 minutes. We can leave it open if anyone wants to share anything else. Otherwise, we can end the class. But anybody want to share or comment, question?
Hare Krishna, I had a quick question.
James, Hare Krishna, James.
Hare Krishna. The question is regarding to chanting. So, there are some days when chanting is, very smooth and you're very absorbed in the chanting, but then there are some days when you're chanting when sometimes it can feel like a struggle. Not necessarily to not get through the rounds, but more so, I guess there's some type of uh resistance. Maybe it's just mental agitation or anything like that. Um, is there any advice that you could possibly give as far as like those days when chanting can be somewhat kind of difficult, as far as, um, maybe lessening that resistance uh, within oneself? I don't know if there's any advice you could probably give on that.
Yeah, I experienced that Also, one thing that comes to mind is I hear my Gurudev, where he always encourages all the time. He's always encouraging, and he's always encouraging in his classes and in person to always seek the opportunity to serve, always seek the opportunity, even in a uncomfortable or seemingly, as what would you call it? Like a situation that you would not preference that seems unfavorable in some sense. So the opportunity and the service would be to see that as a way to try to be more prayerful, to really beg, to take the mood of begging, because when we get that taste taken away, when we get that feeling taken away, it's a good opportunity to really pray and beg to Krishna to please let me have some little faith in your name. Let me hear the name. Let me serve the name. Let me just have a little, even if it's just a tiny bit of that mercy for chanting. So in your own words and heartfelt sincerity, you just pray in those moments deeply. And what I do regularly that helps is to utilize the morning program. So, like praying to the spiritual master in the morning. Prabhupada gave us the program for that reason, so we can go deeper into those prayers and really use that as an opportunity. So when we sit down to chant, we hope to get some mercy. And by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master, and if you're aspiring for a spiritual master, then we'll receive some grace. So especially Tulsi Devi, praying to Tulsi Devi, she's very powerful and very merciful. And saying the prayers to her. And of course, praying to Srila Prabhupada and managing our day in a way that our consciousness is trying to serve, so that when we sit to chant, whatever issues are there, we're praying to Krishna that, we have that faith. We're actually building our faith. Like, for example, this morning I was not very attentive. I was trying my best to focus because I kept thinking about the class, right? But then I kept reminding myself that everything is there in Krishna's name. Krishna is there in his name. He can guide me. He's in the heart. He's in the heart of all the devotees. And so I was just praying, really praying to Krishna that, he can help me in my service. Even though I'm trying to serve to please him, but I'm trying to please my spiritual master also and the devotees. So it's, we need to go deeper into prayer, and I hope that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, got a few minutes left. Any last bits of comments or realizations?
Thank you, Amma.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie.
I like the class so much.
Oh, thank you,
Can
honey.
you come to breakfast instead of here? Because we're going to be at breakfast.
Okay, or you can come here. I'll see you soon. Hare Krishna. Okay. Gavantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Reading all the comments here. Hare Prabhu. If anybody else is on, we're going to be having this wonderful celebration next weekend at Tirubhav for His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So anyone who can come, please come and share and give your association. Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I'll turn the camera so when the doors open, you can see the Lord. Jaya Lalita Vishakalalita Vishakashirade. Jaya Nitai Gaura Sundar Nitai Gaura Sundar Gaura Hari. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Devala Isatma. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Devala Isatma. Namo Sabhagan. Namo Sabhagan. Sadhu Vedavachari Krishna Bhakti Hoda Hare Padma Bhakta Chitte Kodya Anatori Homa Asha Iduru Chat Se Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Rama, 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 Hare Rama, Hare